Welcome.
Welcome back. How you doing, man?
Good.
Feels odd not to have a guest sitting here with us.
I know. We just talked about that. 3 out of the past 4 weeks, we've had a guest.
Yeah, I don't want to go setting a precedent or anything. I mean, that's pretty good. I don't know, man. Something about that really puts a smile on my
It's
face.
fun. We talked a lot.
Yeah, we did. We did. Had a good time. I'm glad I can still talk after that week.
Learned a lot. Yeah,
man.
It's fun.
Yeah, absolutely. So I had to go and sort of reset myself over the last week. And, we talk a lot about meditation and don't talk a whole lot about yoga, but it's out there, and I do my share of yoga. Well, I realized that I was starting to form disciplines. And then all of a sudden, and by disciplines, I mean I was meditating every morning.
Mm-hmm.
I was getting in some yoga, albeit it was a little loosely translated yoga. I'm still working on flexibility and whatnot. And, those things fed into my days of being like helping to make my days pretty solid.
Yeah.
You know how it is, man.
Yeah.
You get in the gym, you do your thing, you do your ice bath, whatever you do, and it gets you straight, right? Well, something knocked me right off my course last week. And it was right around the time that we had Jordan on. So about a solid week.
Yeah.
And prior to that, for about a week, I'd been feeling myself slipping a bit. Like I was getting a little more irritated with people. I fell back into my monkey brain, so to speak. And I was just reacting. I wasn't thinking. So I said, man, I got to do something different here. I really got to make a change. And, I've made changes. I've made a lot of changes. I've went to a plant-based diet. I'm pretty much alcohol-free, unless maybe it's like my wife wants to have a glass of wine. I might share one with her, but that's a rarity, whereas it used to be, I'd have a beer almost every night or two, or, a whiskey. And I said to myself, what am I doing what haven't I done that I've never done before in my life to make a change? I haven't done everything there is to help myself. There's got to be other things. There's right.
Endless possibilities.
Endless.
Sense.
So I started realizing, just as I realized that I had never taken meat out of my diet just to see what had happened.
Yeah.
I just want to see how it affects me. And I had never worked on my chakras before. Love them, hate them, you think they're real, you think they're not, whatever. That's cool, man. I don't really care. I think it's real, but I've neglected it. So I said, well, let me read this book. So, man, I ripped through a book in like a day and a half, all about chakras and everything. And I digested as much of it as I could. And what I realized was there's 6 chakras, right? Starting with your root chakra at the base. I could work on a chakra a day and then take a day off, just like at the gym.
Yeah.
All right, well, that's an idea. Well, what would working on my chakras look like? Well, first I got to understand what each one is. All right, cool. So I went through, and let's just start with the first one, the root chakra. And then I read in this book about the different things that you can do meditation-wise, yoga-wise. I mean, even down to essential oils and other things like that. I'm starting at the basics here.
Yeah.
So what I did was I formulated a 6-day schedule of a chakra a day. My meditation will focus on that chakra that day. My yoga will focus on that chakra that day. So if it's solar plexus, then more than likely it's going to be a lot more core work.
Yep.
Right? If it's root, it's going to be a lot more that foundational base level, like planet on the earth thing, kind of thing. And so I'm on day 2. It's Tuesday. Dude, I feel so much better already. And I know it's not because, I fixed everything.
Yeah.
It's another focus point.
I think it's also your excitement of something new to dive into.
Yes. You took the words right out of my mouth, man. You are spot on. It is a distraction from what otherwise would have been distractions, right? It sounds silly to say it like that, but that's how it is. It's like sometimes these things that we do are simply distractions to keep ourselves out of our own head.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. I mean, my worst place, I'm my own worst enemy.
Oh, we all are.
I can fuck up a good day like nobody. And, I found myself doing that more times than not. And so then I decided to go to this thing. So what this thing did was it also tied me into making sure I don't miss yoga.
Yeah.
I can't miss my meditation. I can't go a whole week and not work on that. It's like missing leg day at the gym. And we all know, and a lot of people are guilty of it, but, you got to hit legs just like you hit chest, fellas, ladies. So anyway, man, I've been able to, in just the last week, in formulating the plan, and then yesterday and today, and actually executing on it for the first couple of days of what I hope is a long journey. Wow, man, there's really something to a busy mind. A healthy busy mind.
Yeah,
is a healthy busy body, I guess. And I was really slipping, and I know we have it, and we go back and forth, and it's like I had a great day or a great week, and I had a shitty one. I had this week of just odd transformation. I have not, since I left the military, even when I worked for the federal government afterwards and as a contractor and whatnot, I could never get my head wrapped around pure focus. That kind of focus where you can't hear shit else, where you're just busy.
Yeah, you're
in the
kind
zone.
of in the zone.
Right. And so that gave me that. And so I started thinking, I thought, I bet a lot of our listeners could use a distraction from whatever their distractions are.
Yeah.
Maybe somebody out there, one of our viewers or listeners says, you know what, man, I used to hit the gym hard. I haven't done it in a long time, man. I feel like shit.
Yeah.
Well, that's probably not why you feel like shit, but that's probably a big part of it. And it can help you to get through this feeling like shit.
Well, yeah. Well, let alone just all the endorphins that are naturally going to be released from meditating, yoga, lifting, some type of physical movement. It will naturally put you in a better mood. Naturally energizes you. If you guys don't know, simply put, the more you move, the better you feel. Your body is like a car. You got an old car sitting in the garage. You don't start it up. Many people, you may not have started that extra car for the winter. It probably won't start.
Yeah.
Tires will get bubbles if they're not, turned, rotated, even if you just move the car a few feet so that what was now on the pavement is now at the top. The body's the same way. If you don't move the joints and stuff like that, I think we talked about it last week.
Yeah.
Break your day up into shifts, from like when you wake up, break it into 4-hour shifts. It's pretty simple. So if you wake up at 4 to 8, 8 to noon, noon to 4, 4 to 8. And obviously you're probably not, I guess you could be up from the 8 to midnight. You could, I would say maybe 8 to 10 in that window, whatever you want to say. But you drink 32 ounces of water within that time frame. You get up and walk, for X amount of time. Now, obviously, depending on your job, you can't just go up and go walking around 20 minutes. But if you can get up as often as you can, like every hour, you make it a point that I'm going to get up, walk a lap around the office, do what I do, drink your water, and then when you get up in somewhere in that time frame for 2 minutes, just do some stretches.
Yeah.
So maybe, you're pulling your arms across, grabbing the quad, you're touching your toes, and do something different the next, shift, and the next. By the end of the day, you'll have drank a gallon plus of water. You should have equated 10,000 steps.
Yeah.
You then also should have moved every joint in the body. So even if you can't get in a solid workout, doing those things, you'll feel better because you're taking your body and putting it in a position to move in all directions. Like I'll do that all the time at work. I'll be in my office, like I'll lean back as far as I can. I'll stretch at my desk. I'll stand and hold my laptop if I'm doing stuff.
Right.
We got like a little divider behind our desk, like part of the desk. I'll use that and stretch. People come in, what are you doing? Oh, just stretching.
Yeah.
Because no one uses it. We can't sit on it. It's just a little dumb divider wall for no reason there.
Yeah.
But like, I'll do that kind of stuff for like when I'm, doing things around the facility or whatever. Like last night at home, we were watching TV together. I sat and was doing 2-minute stretches.
Oh, nice.
Doing couch stretches, stretching, all sorts of things. And then I was starting to do like split stretches, doing the runner stretch. And then Reese came, my daughter, and sat on top of me. I'm like, okay, but you can't move though. Just so she laid there for 2 minutes. I'd switch. Okay, let me get up, switch to the other side. And she laid there as my weight. And as I could breathe and relax, she just pushed me down. And like, I felt so good. My legs are always still destroyed.
Yeah.
But it felt good and relaxing, let alone the energy from her just being like a limp noodle.
Yeah.
But you got the energy of your child, like just laying on you and helping you and being peaceful.
Yeah.
It was peaceful. And I probably stretched out 20 minutes, just kept setting 2-minute alarms. The watch would buzz, repeat, go to the next position, repeat. And that's something simple to do. There's a whole series of chair, couch, desk stretches you guys can look up on YouTube. Simple things. And that's something small. Like if you're saying, like you got a good routine, I got a good routine. And realistic, in all reality, most people aren't going to do that.
And there's something to that, getting into that routine that is so difficult.
Yeah.
But I realized something yesterday, my first day of doing this new program. I'm in this stretch and I'm like, oh God, I must look ridiculous because I can't hardly move. Like I've been sedentary for a while, and this hurts, and I've never done this yoga pose, and all these things are going through my head. And then I stopped for a minute and I just smiled and I said, you know what? You're in it. Like, you're supposed to be hurting.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is it, man. Like, be proud of yourself. Be happy that you're back doing this stuff. And I thought, you go and you put a piece of candy in your mouth. You don't think on the front end of it, God, this is so horrible. And, and in the middle of it's good and the end of it's great. You've got to look at the whole thing.
Yeah.
That's, you don't pick apart a candy bar, like a Snickers or something, and go, wow, I love this, but I hate this part about it. Or this, just enjoy it.
You wouldn't eat it.
Right, you wouldn't eat it. Just enjoy the damn thing, and just know that you're doing it, and do it again tomorrow.
Yeah,
and you'll feel the same way. And it's no different than if you go to the gym and you start seeing results. Only you should start seeing mental results immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Before you get back to your car on day one, you should feel mental results. You should feel results, endorphins and serotonin and whatever.
When you get done with the workout, you might be exhausted and feel beat up, but mentally you should be just thrilled with yourself for what you did. The endorphins should be running. You should be energized. I don't like waking up when I do to work out, but I prefer to get it done because late in the day, if I didn't do it, well, I'll still do it in the evening. Oh yeah, I'll have no problem doing that. Yeah. But I still prefer just to get it done in the day, because at the end of the day, then there's more time to focus on other things, do what I never need, whatever I need to do. But I'll wake up and I have days like yesterday, I did not want to get up and do the workout. I'm like, all right, well, back's still bugging me a little, do this. It's just you modify the things. But then when I got done, I'm like, man, I'm really glad I did that. Feel good.
Well, and I think right now is a unique time too, because so many of us have been locked inside, have been sort of kept away from everything. Whether it was by your own will or, because the government, your local government or whatever said, hey, everybody stay home. I said last week, I miss high fives, hugs, and handshakes. I think that I'd started to get a little depressed.
I would say many people are.
And if I wouldn't have seen that and wouldn't have caught it, it could be problematic, obviously. But I think that a lot of people right now need a reason or a vehicle, if you will, to get going again, right? We would have never in all of our lives expected to be going through something like this.
No, I don't think anybody does. If we rewind time, Spanish flu, going through the Black Plague, all that. I was finishing Ryan Holiday's new book. It's a simple read. It's got pictures, and it's like
it's got pictures.
Well, it does. So he got an artist to depict Marcus Aurelius's life from like childhood to adulthood, but basically summed up a lot of his teachings from meditations into like 1-2 sentences in total short story.
Yeah,
I literally read it in one sitting because it's that simple.
Right.
But I've read meditations. I've read a lot of the Stoic stuff from Ryan Holiday, his other books. And it's those simple things of like, as you're reading, like, what Marcus did. He went through incredible debt through his country. So they sold a lot of the furnishings from the palace.
Right.
Lots of plague. People started getting at their borders. So he went to war with his people,
Yeah.
He was a great leader. Obviously, we're still talking about him as such, and it's kind of funny because he never expected those things. And it talks in the beginning, in his meditations too, he talks a lot about his childhood, but he goes, I didn't want to be emperor. I didn't want to, but his stepfather chose him. He's like, you're going to be king. You're going to be the emperor.
Yeah.
Well, then he made his brother, Lucius, co-emperor. Something that never had been done in the history of Roman, let alone modern times. I guess you could say our country, but president, vice, technically not.
Still not the same.
That's not co.
Right.
It's not co-president.
Right.
So something that had never been done in history, and many countries probably don't do. I'm not well suited in government, but it's interesting that he did all these things, and he writes about he didn't prepare for it, but it's the teachings of the things that we do prior, how we create our mindsets, how we strengthen our bodies through physical activity, the foods we put into our body, should set the tone that, unfortunately, with the events we're going through, that we're capable to get through it. It's not ideal. We don't wish for it. Yeah, we might have our days of being depressed, as every human does, but we get through it because all these years prior to our existence, we've done those. Now, you can remove children. They're a little different. But as an adult, you can think all your years prior of what you've done, set the tone that, okay, it's bad, but I'll get over this hump, and then we'll look back at it, and then another hump will come, and we'll look back on that and so forth.
Well, and there's a much bigger way to look at that too, right? Like if you step back, and we've talked about being able to say, I'm just going to be, right? Yeah. Well, I look back at my couple of weeks that I had that were pretty rough, and I think to myself even now, was there anything bad enough that happened in that 2-week span that should have or justified me being, in that position mentally? Yeah. And really the answer is no. Really, it's just how did I receive input that I perceived as negative, and how did I react? Because that's what I was doing. I was reacting. I wasn't responding out of thought or compassion or anything. And I think that if you can catch yourself at the beginning stages of this depression or whatever this fatigue is, this mental fatigue, this fog that's surrounding so many of us, and just say, oh, hold on a second. I'm all right. Mm-hmm. Like, just chill, pump the fucking brakes, chill out for a second. I'm okay. If I get mad and get freaked out, then it's just going to make tomorrow worse, right? I'll wake up tomorrow and be thinking about yesterday and still be pissed off. And, you don't even have to have a fight with your significant other one or your kid or anybody. You could just literally wake up and still be pissed off about something that happened at work yesterday.
Yeah.
Well, we know that it's easier said than done to not worry about that shit. But we really all have to learn how to just fucking let things go and just be.
Oh, yeah.
Because if you just be and if you just let shit go, then you and I have a different conversation today.
It's true.
The fucking week was stellar. Mm-hmm. It was a good week.
But in human nature, we sadly don't. Another way to look at it, I'm going to pull from the book too, and this is all, stuff Marcus wrote. His teacher who prepped him to become the emperor, I'm going to butcher it. Probably his teacher's name is like Racutius, Racutius, I think is how it's spelled, if I'm trying to pull it out. At some point in Marcus's childhood, he went to his house in the countryside, and he just sat up on like the bluffs and looked down at the Rome, away from the stress and this and that. And then his teacher came back and goes, "Is this what you were born and put here to do? Sit and watch?" And then soon thereafter, at whatever point, Marcus has a dream and realizes he sees himself with ivory shoulders and the, purple robe and the gold of being emperor and having the, vine leaves across his, around his head. And he kind of sees that. And I think that's a good way to look too when we're going through these moments is, yes, you're allowed to have emotion, be sad, be angry, whatever they may be. But were you put here on this planet, or, whatever you want to call it, were you put here? Were you given this life to sit and recall, oh, that shit happened yesterday? Are you going to let here recall it over and over and over? Because you're truly not living. You're just living for a single emotion each day, and you're not changing it. So, yes, certain bad things can happen. We can lose people, bad situations, and it might take days, some longer time, but thinking as you sit and reflect on those emotions or whatever's going on, was I really put here just to sit here and think about this over and over and over?
Right, stew on it.
Yeah.
Ruminate.
Because what are you really accomplishing in those days? Now, we're all going to, like I said, we're all going to grieve, do things differently, but if it's something on a minor scale or petty, what are you accomplishing in your day-to-day life if that's all you dwell on?
Man, but we get trapped. We get trapped. I used to drive the same way every day to Scott Air Force Base, which is here locally in the St. Louis area. It's where I finished up my career.
Many options. You had one other entrance.
Well, sort of. But the thing is I could get to the gate by a few different ways. But
true.
What would I do every day? I'd take the same route. And when there was traffic backed up every day, I got angry. Mm-hmm. Get irritated. Next day. I keep going the same way.
Yeah.
I keep doing the same goddamn thing. I keep expecting different results. So I say that because there's a different way. I could have taken 64 all the way around.
Yeah.
I could have done all sorts of different things. We can all take a different way. Right? We can all take a different path.
Coming into, like, I hit a bunch of traffic today, left a little later than planned, but it's like, okay, prime time, I'm going to leave a little earlier to avoid that. Yeah. Maybe there is a better route to take. I take the same way to work today. Well, home I didn't because I came here, but I went a different way here today than before.
Yeah.
Which not much different.
Sure.
Just like, I'll pop right on the highway versus going down this way.
Right.
But it's like when I drive to work or I drive home, usually I talk to my wife, my daughter on the way home. On the way to work, I'll listen to a podcast, meditate, or like I won't listen to anything at all. And I just kind of like, I go the same way every day. I'll pay attention. Am I seeing the same cars?
Right.
Odds are I usually don't. But I'll look what I pass. Like, and now last week we had all this snow. We've had now, we're in the 60s today, 50s yesterday. I was like, man, last week driving on the same day, snowing still, and all the snow was everywhere. And it's like, look how my scenery has changed.
Right.
And it kind of reminds me of something I wrote a long time ago. Is like, every time you enter a room, it's a new room.
Yeah.
And it's true. Because let's say you had a window in the room. The sunlight hits it. It's going to be a different light.
Yeah.
The images on the wall will be different depending on how the sun's hitting them. The paint on your wall has started to fade. You may not notice it, but reality has had.
Right.
That carpet, which was so soft and fluffy, is starting to get a little bit more sunken down.
Right.
Every little thing that you have in a room, it's different each time.
Yep.
But you got to look at it very microscopic. Like, everything is changing always around you. So, like, as you make that same drive, yes, you hit traffic. It's like, man, I always look over here. Oh, that same tree. Oh, yeah, it's doing good. I wonder if that tree's going to fall. It's looking, maybe that tree's dying. Or, oh, man, last week, that sucker was bare. Right. Now you can see the buds starting to come. Like, there's so many things that we can observe in those stressful moments or that day-to-day routine that I think this is where people fall in that trap of, we don't see the changes that happen right before us in our day-to-day. I guarantee you most people, when you drive to work, I used to be guilty of this. I would meditate and do things to distract myself all the way to work just to mentally prep me for the onslaught, which was to come for the rest of the day.
Right.
And all night and the next day, because it never let off.
Right.
But I would sit there at time that I eventually got to that point later on and was just like, okay, look at that. Oh, man, they're building that. Oh, man, they made some progress on that building in this gas station. Or, I wonder what they're putting over there. Oh, okay, cool. These people, they put something else in their yard. Like, I would try, you're still being observant of the road, but you're taking into the changes of what do I see every day.
Yeah.
And it makes your journey that much more enjoyable, pleasurable, and less stressful because you're looking for the changes and the good of what's before you.
Well, you've made yourself more of an antenna.
Yeah.
Right? You're opening up your mind. You're broadening that horizon. Your scope is opening up. And it's allowing you to see things that you otherwise would not have seen. They're there.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't have seen them because you would have been monkey mind. You would have been distracted. You would have been on the phone. You would have been screwing around with the stereo. You would have been on the phone talking. And that's whatever we do.
Exactly.
But if, you come back and you go, okay, I am going to purposefully enjoy my surroundings on this drive today.
You just said the key word.
That's right. You have to have intent. You have to have purpose.
Purpose and intent.
So when you go to get in your car and you open that door, you have to tell yourself, all right, today's going to be different.
Yeah.
Today I'm not going to be flying. Today I'm not going to get angry. And then when you do it, you go, oh shit, you catch yourself. All right, well, I'm not going to do it again.
Yeah.
And then you will, and you catch yourself, and you go, okay, well, I'm not going to do it again. And what happens is the gap between purpose or intent and screwing up gets much wider.
It does.
And then what you're going to notice is your response or your return to center will eventually start to get much smaller. So the gap at which you will get distraught is wider, and your speed or your reaction to come back to center and focus on what's really important becomes much shorter. So how do we improve that? Well, just like you and I have said, through meditation, through yoga, through walking, through getting out in nature.
It's
right?
Being very purposeful or intentional.
Let's say the other word, mindful.
Yes, all three of those of what you're doing. It's like something today, like I was telling Jeremy before we got on, I did a Tai Chi class at our facility. I've done Tai Chi before. We have a great instructor. And it was just an intro class, and I was like, I want to hop in because I love hearing him talk. He's been teaching for 20 plus years. He's got a lot, and he obviously it's something you can learn from, as we should be able to learn from anyone.
Yeah.
And he was, we few people in this intro class teaching people, trying to relate. Like one gentleman rides motorcycle, this other person likes to play golf. We have fly fisher, trap shooter, like random people's little hobbies. How can I apply this? And he's taking it. How can I apply what I'm going to teach to you? And he would do that as he's teaching one. And he was kind of really teaching the guy on the motorcycle, like, okay, in Tai Chi, it's about balance. He talks a lot about water dripping from the top of your head. As water can run in all directions. It can run backwards.
Sure, yeah.
As many things in the world cannot.
Right.
So, as water drips, it goes in the front, the back, goes around, and you put your foot down, and you shift your weight all to that right side. You're filling up that right side. You're filling just from the hip down. Starting at the ground, I fill this leg up. I should be able to pick my left foot up, and I can just gradually move it across the floor. Then I put my left foot down. And I shift all this water. I start taking it out of this cup of my right leg, and I dump it in my left. And I shift. Being very purposeful how you plant your balance. And then that's what I was telling Jeremy we were doing with our arms and starting to build energy, which that really gets my body going. It's being very purposeful that's something we don't do either. When most people walk, are you actually being intense with each step, or are you just walking?
Right.
I'll be guilty of this. I'd say 99.9% of the human race, I'm just walking.
Yeah.
I'm going for a run. Are you physically trying to pay attention to each foot strike?
Right.
How that foot heel to toe to ball to lift? Are we being purposeful in that? And it would be amazing that a lot of the things we do in our day, like little screw ups, so people are like, I'm a klutz. You're not really a klutz. You just don't have balance, and it's something you don't focus on. And so that's little things like we were saying, when we get in the car, be purposeful and mindful and have that intent to, I'm not going to rush to get here.
Right.
We'll get here when we get here. We'll be safer probably because of it. I'll be less stressed because of it. Other people will probably be stressed because I wasn't an asshole on the road. But you take in your surroundings and you're much more. So I encourage you, as you guys do things in your day, look at it with what is the intent? Am I trying to rush through it, or am I trying to create something that is memorable, or whatever my project, you're working on? But think about that. And that's a simple thing. Think about as you walk today, you take steps, be purposeful. Can you shift your weight as you're walking? And you can do it slow, and you can build up. Yeah. Or, Google some Tai Chi, Tai Chi walk is what it's called. You'd be amazed. Because the few people in the room were just like, oh my God, this is baffling. I had the advantage of doing martial arts and that, and just better balance. But you see the struggle, it's oh my God, their minds are blown. I don't ever think about when I'm walking to put my foot down like this or this.
Their minds haven't been opened, right? You're really not. You close off this part of your mind that allows these beautiful things in, because you're so focused, that you got that type A monkey mind going on, and you're just driven, and you're going to get there, and you're going to do it. Gosh damn it. You're going to make this work, and God love you for it. But when do you slow down? Mm-hmm. When do you take care of you? I'll tell you, I've been walking a lot more since the weather's been a little bit nicer. And what I do in my walks to try to keep that thought storm at bay, because I squirrel all the time, man. I'm always seeing something new I want to look at. And so if I concentrate on my breathing while I'm walking, I can notice a car coming. So that's a thought. I flick it aside. Yeah. Right. It's no different. So you can learn to meditate while you're at work.
Yeah. That's the first thing we did today before we started the class is breathing.
Yeah. Yeah. If you focus on that breath, you're good.
He did all this talking to get you. And I'm like, to me, I love that, because it's like standing meditation. And as I talked about previously, meditation while still is easy. Meditation while moving is one. And so that's what we talked about. That's the thing is too, is you're saying, going for a walk and being able to meditate.
Yeah.
You should be able to, with practice, go on a walk, listen to music, a podcast, and meditate, because you're so in tune with yourself and what's going on that, okay, I'm listening to my music. Oh, there's the neighbor kids. You waving at the neighbor kids as they're out playing.
Yeah.
I'm paying attention to my footing. Oh, there's a car. Oh, there's still a giant mound of snow at the end of the sidewalk. You're seeing it all before you. But that's, again, most people are not aware. We're so distracted by everything else around us that it takes. But I would suggest, like what you're doing, before you guys go on a walk, do a workout or something, take a few minutes and just do some good breathing. Man, push the gut out.
Yes. Yep. Breathe into that diaphragm.
Yeah. Push the belly out. You're supposed to have a belly like the Buddha belly you're supposed to have when you breathe. The strong diaphragm, you'll be 10 times stronger than breathing through your chest, because you're only shortening the diaphragm. It's going to make it a hell of a lot harder to breathe.
That's right.
But do that before any strenuous exercise, even before you get in your car. You will find how much more relaxed and in tune you are with yourself, because you're restoring your body to those, if primitive settings is the correct way I want to say it, but you're
primal settings.
You're restoring yourself to your sensors are more aligned to undertake what's coming.
So
I would say, like, when you go for that walk and do that breathing, you're going to be such more peaceful. And then try to keep that just normal thought process of good, breath in and out, creating that big belly, tightening those abs, so to speak.
Well, and you can use that same formula, if you will, or that same practice before, not just you go for a walk or you're working out, but
anything. You
going into a meeting.
Oh yeah.
You going, you're in your parking lot, it's going to be a stressful day at work. Work on your breath.
Yeah.
As soon as that thought comes into mind about work, just accept it. It's okay. It's all right. I want to get back to my breathing now.
Yeah.
That breath work. I had a meeting today, and it's a reoccurring meeting that I have. And before we started, we did 3 really good, long, hard inhales and exhales.
It's good.
Just said, hey, man, let's go ahead. Let's just knock this out. So we set the tone of this meeting. Not something you see a lot, but when we do it, it's always successful. It sets a very good foundation, not one of expectations, not one of anger or fear, animosity, just a baseline. And this is where we're going to start now. We're good. And I think that, I like yesterday, I meditated three times yesterday.
It's good.
And not because I want to set a fucking record, but because I was trying to be in my zone. Mm-hmm. And there were some things that were like potentially catastrophic to a zone dweller, right?
You get into that, but
so I had to do it.
Different styles you could have done each time.
I did.
Listen,
yep. I did different ones each time.
Tons of different styles you could do.
I did Sam's one time, and I did one for my chakra, and then I did another one just completely free and open, like a freestyle meditation with no noise, nothing, just me and just sitting here. And I'm glad I did. And the reason I say that is because a lot of people are like, "Oh, I meditated today, so why am I this, that, or the other?" No, it doesn't fix all your ails, right? It doesn't cure all your ails. It just helps you get better faster.
Yeah, it's no different than you guys are sore in a particular area, or you stretch that, like, oh man, I've been really tight in my back. I got to do, some hip flexor stretches, hamstring. You do all these stretches to loosen up something. It's the same thing. Meditation can be used to loosen the mind, get you to focus, ease some things. No different than that breathing. It just sets the tone and puts you in a good position.
The breath work is... I know that it's funny because it's foundational at a human level. Duh, we have to breathe. But nobody ever tells you when you're young, hey man, you're breathing a little. But like when you tell somebody you're breathing wrong, it's like, well, I'm breathing, so how's that wrong?
Well, that's normal. The same thing as walking, running, jumping are basic human movements.
Yeah,
most of the world doesn't do it right.
Right, exactly.
And that all goes that. Is younger, you got your toe walkers, your flat footers and things. It's not taught how to properly, teach biomechanics.
Yeah, only if it becomes a medical like hindrance.
Yeah. And it's the same thing with anything else of, meditation, mindful breathing. You have to teach it. We do that in martial arts all the time. Lay flat, big bellies out, because you would see the guys, like especially in the MMA world, you'll get the guys. Watch next time anyone watches a UFC, just watch some of these guys. You'll see the guys that really know they're breathing, their belly's going in. If I'm doing this constantly, my shoulders, I'm breathing through my chest, dude, you're getting a half the amount of oxygen you
And that's
need.
what do you see when you go running with a big group of people afterwards? The chest is just constantly up and down. The belly is as even as level as a wall. You're not doing any abdomen diaphragm work at all.
It's like, a lot of people lay on the ground. Like, I'll either sit on something, I lay in the ground, I take my drink, keep the water in my mouth so it forces me to breathe through my mouth, but I'll focus on.
Yeah.
And it hurts because you're like, your body wants to, but you're trying to teach your body how to relax itself, to bring you back to a more resting heart rate, faster, natural. So like if you had to go do something again real quickly, you've brought it down to eliminate the stress. Oh, we're back. And your body can go.
Well, just today, I read an article about two young men. I can't remember where it was. One of them was a collegiate football player. But so I can set the stage, he was a placeholder. I don't mean on the team, I mean a physical placeholder for the football, for a kicker. So I don't know what his other position was, but that's the one they highlighted. And then another individual was a seasoned and I mean, for probably, 15 years, trained in different forms of mixed martial arts. Mm-hmm. He and his brother both were wrestlers from, I think they said, 6 years old all the way up.
Yep.
Wrestled every day of their life. He's in a bathroom, been drinking.
Yeah.
And this guy starts shit with him. He starts saying some pretty rude things to him. And, this guy's trying to be cool. And finally he's got to defend himself. Well, what caught my attention in the news report, amongst all this fluff and all this, this guy did this and that, and this guy is suing this guy. And at the end of the day, the reporter said, the young man that knew how to fight and protect himself took a deep breath and proceeded to pummel this other guy and got him in a guillotine on the bathroom floor, right? But they said he took a deep breath. You just let that sink in for a minute. The gentleman was potentially under duress. He was in a fight or flight situation, no matter if he's trained or not.
I've seen the video. Yeah, you can see it.
And he takes a big breath to settle himself and probably to prepare his cardiovascular system for what's to come.
Because this adrenaline was probably going.
Absolutely.
I think he got spit on first.
Oh, it was pretty ugly, pretty hateful shit.
Got spit, then sued.
And so at the end of the story, what happened was two guys messed with two other guys. The two guys that got messed with were brothers that were fighters and wrestlers. And they swiftly whooped the other boys' asses because, well, they apparently needed a good ass whooping.
Well, same thing, like watch boxing or any of the UFC or any of the there's so much martial arts stuff shown on TV now. It's insane. It's awesome. But watch these guys, or even go back and like watch Brady.
Yeah.
If they are on them, I'm trying to pick out people that are like clutch in what they do.
Elite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These guys like, okay, cool.
Yep.
And it's not to say that you can't be those people too. You don't compare yourselves to these others, but
yeah,
each individual of us can do. And it's perfect thing is like, again, the Tai Chi teacher, I think it's Arthur Ashe who said this, is start with where you are and who you are.
Yeah. Yeah, totally, man. That can fix everything.
I think that's how it goes,
Yeah, I think that, I think that saying goes with everything.
Yeah, because you want to start something, you start with where you're at. You want to start a martial art? Cool. Well, someone in there's going to be a blue, a brown, a black, multiple stripes. Yep. You start with where you're at. You're going to start a new job. You start with where you're at. Obviously, they hired you for some reason. You are not going to know everything you need to know, but you start with where you're at and you go. And that's what I think more people need to take into life. And that's what he was telling these people. And he said that. I was like, man. And I think my track coach might have said that. And I've heard it, It's
sure.
Arthur Ashe.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Popular man. It's exactly that. Do not look at the man to the left or right of you, or woman or child. Where are you?
Yeah.
What can I do if I want to be here? What can I do to get there? What do I need to do to get here? But also remember, when you start something new or you're still in those rookie stages, to think of the same thing. What am I doing? Who am I? And where am I at?
Would you agree that then, having said that, that any problem in the world can be resolved by looking in a mirror?
I'd say for most,
I mean, you can't resolve other people's
You're gonna-
problems,
for you
but
internally.
for you. And so now if I do it and you do it, let's say your wife does it, my wife does it, they tell somebody about it, they do it, and it spreads out, like a damn multi-tier marketing scheme.
Yeah.
Same thing. More people start doing it. More people start realizing it, right? I don't know, man.
No, and that's things a lot of the Stoics talked about, all these other books I've read, think of the things that you can do to improve upon yourself, but also in your day-to-day journey, where are you at?
Yeah.
Start with who you are and where you are.
Yeah, man.
And because you can't compare yourself to the next person. I want to be so-and-so and do this. Okay, well, they didn't just magically end up there to whatever they're doing. It's
there's so many things
simple state to focus on the small steps to get to the big one.
So many things that play into this too. Like we're talking about a lot of the 30,000 foot view stuff, but it all comes down to this. If you go into your boss's office and he has something to say to you that you don't like, but it's constructive criticism, and you lash out, what'd you eat for dinner the night before? What'd you eat for breakfast?
Oh,
Did you do any exercise yesterday? I mean, I'm just going down the very basic shit. Like, did you eat nothing before you went to work? So now you're fucking hangry, and you're irritated at people, and you might get shit canned.
Ate nothing but you can.
So take it back down to the granular level. It's in the mirror.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Another too, the Stoics did at the end of every day, or a situation, back up, analyze, write it down. What, why, how could I have handled that better?
Yeah.
Did it go? Even if it went phenomenal, right? Why?
Yeah.
What was internally going through your head?
Yeah. What did you do to help it happen,
Marcus,
right?
Epictetus, all those guys, Nero, all those guys wrote about, and Lincoln and all these other people have done, that you internalize, how did the day go? What did I do good and why? When someone, but I took a couple breaths, or I sat there and I listened and I heard their full story. I internalized it, showed my compassion back towards them versus just snapping back.
Yeah.
It's all those little things. And it's not a bad idea to, at the end of the day, the beginning of your day, to journal from the previous day or an event, to write down those thought processes that were going, because if you can look back, see those thought processes that happened, you're more likely to repeat it again and again and again.
Just think if you get into an altercation, or maybe not even an altercation, just you're in a scenario you don't like, somebody says something or they do something that, it just chaps your ass. We're all guilty of saying something. Well, you don't have to. You don't have to say or do anything. In fact, that's the smartest thing you could do, is just not say or do anything.
Yeah.
Unless somebody's going to be hurt, of course. But what happened? What do you think? How do you think you'd feel if somebody attacked you and you just said, "Hey, I'm sorry. You know what I mean? Like I didn't mean to come at you that way, or to make you feel that way."
Something verbal, sure.
Right, of course. You might have been right.
You might throw a lot of people off, and it all depend on the people. There are some
but look
people
at the other
nuts.
person. I would say 9 out of 10 people, and I'm probably being a little optimistic, would be initially, they would retract and they'd be like, "What the hell?"
Mm-hmm.
And then as they internalized it over the coming hours, they would probably come back and find you and be like, "Hey, sorry, I fucking didn't eat this morning and I was hungry." You know what I mean?
And it goes back to every person is dealing with something you don't know about. So when they're snapping at you for whatever reason, even if you are right, you don't know what they just came from.
What do we say?
What happened that day, the day before.
Yeah.
And I've dealt with some people who have been that way, even at running the club, and next day, "Hey, sorry, the other day, gentleman a few weeks ago was irate," and I just heard him out. I'm like, "Okay, I'll do this, blah, 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 listen. Yeah, I get it." And the next day, "Hey," and I talked to him, let him vent. And when he came out, and "Hey, I'm going to," actually it was the same day, let him vent. And afterwards, "Hey, I heard what you're saying, next time, let me know this is going on, this. And he goes, "Oh, I'm sorry, man. It's just stressing me out, this and this." I'm like, "Hey, it's okay. No worries."
Yeah. It's amazing what a hand on the shoulder or the back will do for somebody.
And he, obviously went and worked out too, which helped a lot of the aggression. But sometimes it's the next day or a few days, "I'm sorry. Hey," I'm like, "Hey, it happens."
Right. Yeah. You've got to be okay with other people not being okay while you're on your journey of making yourself okay.
Mm-hmm.
because not everybody's on the same day of your journey. Not everybody's even started their journey of healing or of getting rid of anger or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
You know, that awakening, that bump on your head, whatever it is that makes you want to be more compassionate than winning at whatever it is you do. If your focus is constantly winning everything, constantly getting more and more, or you can be compassionate and say, listen, you take everything I have. I'm still going to have my own thoughts. I'm still going to be able to sit and meditate. You know, you put me in a jail cell, and well, when I've gone and visited before, you know, you go crazy because all you have is 24 hours to do nothing. But I was watching a film last night, and the person had been incarcerated, and they sat in their cell and they meditated more than not. And so I thought about it, and I'm like, you know what? I could do that now. And that would help me get through those times.
Well, in a sense, not to put a ton of, you know, positive light in that realm, but a lot of prisoners, for the most part, have to become very stronghold in a mindset.
Yeah.
Yes, they get, you know, never been locked up. I used to work with a gentleman who was for like 5 years, and, you know, he read a lot, did a lot of things. He goes, you just kind of get used to it, but I got out into this. But you do have to be a pretty strong-willed mindset, because there are those times where, cool, this is all I get to do.
Yeah.
So
yeah, there is nothing else.
Nuts, or am I going to improve upon my mind, read, do something beneficial to strengthen myself over the day? Then when I am out and I serve my time, you know, that's anything. So think about your life as a time, which, you know, see it as it is or isn't. What am I doing? Is it useful? And we all need those breaks where maybe you want to watch a TV or watch a movie and just kind of turn the brain and the body off.
Yeah.
And then when you have this time, ooh, am I being beneficial? Am I doing something to enrich my mind, my body? Or are you just wasting time and space? Kind of going back to Marcus sitting on that, you know, sitting on the bluffs looking down at Rome, and his teacher coming, is this what you were meant to do? Like, was I meant to sit on the couch and just drink and stuff and gorge myself?
It's a fantastic statement, question.
Yeah. Or was I meant to do this?
Yeah.
We all have a purpose in this world. We don't know what it is. It can take 37, 44, it could take 50, it could take 18 years. There's no set time limit to anyone of what your path is or your identity to what's going on. But it's you trying new things, seeing what the world has to offer, indulging yourself in more things, experiencing more to find that path.
Yeah, and when you fuck up, realize that when someone else fucks up, you would hope that they give you the same compassion that you would ask for. So when somebody is mad at you, you have to step back and say, man, why is this person angry? What did I do to make them angry? Or what have they done to make me angry?
Yeah.
And I need to be able to verbalize that, not yell it, which is a big part of my problem. I tend to raise my voice as I get animated, and then my wife's like, doesn't even listen. It just all goes out the window, which makes me more furious. But that's on me. That's not on her. That's on me. If you can get in that mindset of like, nobody can hurt me more than I can hurt myself, that leads to compassion. That leads to that mindfulness that I'm not going to lash out at someone when they lash out at me. And I'm definitely not going to lash out at somebody when they don't. Right? But I mean, it takes practice. It takes lots of hard fucking work. You know, it takes long drives in the car where you forget to be mindful and you piss off the guy next to you because you're on your phone screwing around. It happens. But if we all just continue to get mad at each other, well, then we got to be okay with the shit sandwich that we get served.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, you can't just keep getting angry at everyone and expect everybody's going to be nice to you.
Yeah. We're all an ever-going art project.
Listen, man, I used to say ad nauseum, you know, if you walk in the room and everybody's an asshole, you're probably the asshole. Well, take it from me, folks. That was me for a long fucking time. And it took me seeing a lot of other people acting like that for me to realize that I had been doing the same thing. You know, it was the Jeremy show, and not intentionally.
I think everyone has that.
Yeah, I think
stretch in their life where it's the me, I kind of show. And
right. And it may not even be intentional. It may just be like, man, I'm getting really good at this sport, so I'm going to do this 100 miles an hour. And, you know, the wife and kids are in the back going, all right, well, I'm glad you're having a great time. Now, what about us? You know, and that's something that we're all guilty of. You know, my wife and I used to go do CrossFit. I mean, dude, we did it for like 3 years straight, damn near every day of the week. And our kids would be sitting there brilliantly, mind you, but our kids would be sitting there for hours. Dude, and I'm like, I look back now and I'm like, God, all the stuff I was doing for me, saying I was doing for them.
Yeah, but there is good to that.
No, there is
because
good.
they see you and your wife doing that and realize that you're taking the time and energy to better yourself.
Sure.
As they get older, maybe they'll encompass and see, okay, mom and dad did fitness and it was something that they enjoy, but they do it for many other reasons. Maybe they pick up that good habit and incorporate it into their life too.
For whatever reason, I carry a lot of guilt about it.
Well,
you know,
I wouldn't, like my wife and I did the same thing when our daughter was in the pumpkin seat till, and then she got older, different, but yeah, all that time, but she got to play, she got to meet all these other people and other kids and the coaches and the members and all that. She got to be a part and she had fun and all that. And I look at that and we got pictures, got one of saw today of, I guess Reese is maybe 8-9 months old laying on Josh, Nemo's son, laying on his chest. He's holding her and he was how old, but he took good care of her. Like if we were in class and he'd be there with Josh that day, or some of the other kids would be there. Like it's those fun memories that they got to meet those people, may not remember them, and all that, but they got to meet and have fun. And there are times you can say we were selfish with it, but I think it allows our children to see us work. But I also think it's good for children to see their parents do fitness because they see you struggle. They'll see you winded. They'll see you gasping for air, sweating. They'll see you emotionally and physically beat down, and yet you keep going. Subliminally, you're teaching them those same things for life. Yeah. They may not catch what you're doing, but I remember Reese, you're sweating. Why are you doing that? And even now, why do you do that? Well, why do you practice? Why do you do conditioning in practice? Right. So you can do those cool moves that you're wanting to do. So you can get to that next level. Yeah. I think it instills in them a little differently. They just don't see it how we do. So I can, as a parent, I can feel guilty too for that. Sure. A lot of the meets, the one fight I took with my daughter, but she was very young, so it didn't really kick in. But a lot of the lifting competitions, or early on when Reese was young, doing the CrossFit competitions with Shane and Josh and all that. Right. Yeah, I can feel I made them be my spectators, and it was just kind of Yeah. But I hope if my daughter can remember any of it, sees that, oh, daddy gave it his all, pushed himself, was out there, no different than me now being the spectator in her life. Yeah. That I'm proud that she's doing, well, not a sport that we did, but doing something in a similar sense.
Yeah, I think I'm starting to realize why I carry the guilt. I also carry a lot of guilt for years and years of traveling, both in the government and out, serving the government, and both as a civilian, as a military person. I traveled almost exclusively for my career. And, even my final job selling back into the government, I was gone all the time. I was gone 50, 75% of the time. My kids were younger. And I recall telling myself, I miss my family, but I've got to do this. I've got to make these ends meet, blah, blah, blah. All the things we tell ourselves. Mm-hmm. I didn't have to have that job. I could have easily had a job right here at Scott Air Force Base or in St. Louis. So my guilt stems from being gone a lot of their lives when they're younger. And now I'm around, they're older, and they're learning how to live, and they don't have the same kind of time that they used to have for dad. Yeah. They're doing their own things. They're learning how to navigate. So I have that too. Yeah. That, I understand. So I look back and I go, well, fuck, if I wouldn't have been at the gym all the time, I could have had more time with them. Because I was at the gym when I wasn't on the road traveling, which didn't leave a whole lot of time at the house. So you're right. And I absolutely agree that there's a lot of it that's good.
Yeah, you can look at it both ways.
Totally.
But then, too, how would have dad been if dad did not work out? Right. Traveling all the time. There's all sorts of ways we can look at it and spin it. But, but you traveled a lot. You did a lot of good for your family. Beautiful homes, the things they've done, the sports, the places you've gone,
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, we've taken vacations to places that I never would have imagined that we'd went to and done when I was a kid, much less a young adult. So there were benefits from, that grind, if you will. But now my mindset is so different. It's hard for me to not look in the past a little bit and say, fuck, I wish I could have had the same mindset then, because I know that the time between when they want dad around all the time to where they're like, fuck, I don't care who you are, just get away from me as a teenager. That's so short.
Yeah.
So short. So if you're listening to me and you're a parent, I'm not trying to put a fucking guilt trip on anybody here by any means. Do your thing, but just remember that back to basics, right? People, back to basics. If you think you're not spending enough time with your kid, you're not, right? If you think you're spending too much time in your hobby, you are. No matter if you're wrong or you're right, whichever way you think, you are.
Yeah.
Right? So anyway, yeah. I mean, I'm not going to get all sappy about it. It's one of these things that I'm starting to realize, like, okay, I need to process this.
Part of the learning of life.
I need to meditate on this. I need to really think about this and figure out what's the root of this, because there's probably more to it than just a little guilt, right? So I got to get at it. I got to work on that. Good thing for me, I got a few tools in my pocket, right?
Yeah.
I'm going back to my 30-minute weekly meditation tomorrow night. I'm so pumped.
Cool.
I'm so pumped, man. I've been like freaked out about it. Meditations have not been easy.
No.
So anyway.
You'll get back into it.
Yeah, man. I'm already getting there, dude. I'm happy as could be. Happy as could be, man. So happy that I think we'll go ahead and end this. Yeah. All right.
Good one.
Yeah, definitely, man. It's good to be back. I always love having you here to talk, Jeff.
Always good.
And folks, we appreciate your ears and your eyes. And until next time, back to basics, bitches. Right on, guys. Peace.
See ya.
Not too loud, not too loud.